So today, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, tuning in from Germany, Micah Krautscheid. I hope
Perfect.
that's right. So,
Hello, everyone.
Micah, thank you for joining us. So, Micah is the Chief Commercial at Smart Ledger, and she'll be sharing a bit more with us about her journey in the world of blockchain adoption and what that means for the future of work. So everybody who's listening can understand how it will impact them, yourself as a professional. Okay, so before we dive in, for those of you who haven't tuned into the Fire Future show before, this is a show that happens every Eastern time on the future work, particularly focusing on Web3 and the metaverse. Okay, cool. So let's jump into it. Micah, to start off with, if you can just share a bit about yourself and how you got here.
All right. So, as you mentioned before, I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of Smart Ledger. Who I am, oh God, where to start? Since a couple of years in the blockchain space. Beforehand, I made management and music for luxury events. So I also studied music, and during my music studies, I traveled the world, I toured everywhere and made all sorts of events, music and the management. But I wanted to do something which is scalable. And I didn't see this opportunity also for the future, that I didn't want to do events management on a more scalable level than I did before. And I was searching for new entrepreneurial opportunities. I thought, okay, to be able also to set up a successful business, I have to learn more about economics and related topics. Besides making music, I started studying business economics. And during my business economics studies, I started attending startup events. And on one of these startup events, someone told me about the blockchain technology and specific digital assets and its use cases. And immediately, like, I knew it was like a aha moment where I knew, okay, this is the future and nobody knows about it currently. So one of the use cases that the person mentioned at that situation was sending money around the world with email within a second for a fraction of a cent. And this was already a huge thing. Many people are suffering around the world not having access to a bank, for example, not like money access to food, however it looks like, or it's far too expensive to pay with a credit card. Having such an opportunity is already huge. So since I heard about the blockchain technology, I was dealing with it on a daily basis for hours and hours. And I was so like keen on all these opportunities. And so I got to know, okay, it's not only sending money, but it's also about data. And I started also building up the network around in the blockchain space. I started initially in the XRP community. XRP is specialized, let's say, on these cross-border payments, remittance. But I was also digging into the top 100 or 200 different blockchain technologies. So it's not one blockchain technology, it's technologies. And in my network, I had a person who was or is working for the US government. And he had some knowledge that XRP will have some, let's say, legal issues with the, not IRS, what's it called? So it might be announced as a security at the SEC at some later point, which first of all, this got true. Half a year later, XRP was announced by the SEC as a security. And one of the next thing this government person told me was, Micah, forget about any blockchain technology, it's BSV. And back then it was November 2019. Back then there was like a smart campaign around BSV, and it has some kind of bad reputation in the crypto space. I didn't look into BSV, but as this government person who I trusted a lot said, Maike, okay, you have to take a look at it. It is BSV. I took a look at it and I was amazed. It blew my mind away because it's not only about sending value, but it's a huge data ledger, immutable data, and it's a data economy. So there are so much more opportunities that I can fulfill, that I can bring to life, that I can, where I can take the chance to get into the market. And yeah, so I focused technology-wise on the BSV blockchain, and I got into also the community. Let's say I built up further my network, and I came to the position to be the CCO of Smart Ledger.
Amazing, thank you. I think there's a lot of nuggets of what you've said, and there's so many things I want to tap into. First of all, for our viewers, Maike, as you can see, there's been a trend in our conversations with other guests that people have often come into this space, finding it through the startup land, being this entrepreneurial mindset, right? And then finding key pieces of where they are now through the networks and communities they have. Would you agree with that?
There are different approaches. I think the entrepreneurial mindset is very important on one side, but for example, I didn't study, I'm not a developer, I'm not a mathematician, and I have to depend on other people that I can work with and that can bring these ideas to life. And it's always like a community, to be a team involved to realize these things that we make up in our mind, which could bring value to the society.
Absolutely, I really see that. I see that this space won't be at its trajectory without the people and these individuals who are supporting each other. And I see that a lot in this space. I think there's a massive support in community. Now bring it back to blockchain technology. And I know this is your space of interest and this is where you are now. So I've heard that you see a mass of opportunity, and I love having you on and talking because you come from also a different background. And there's a lot of people coming into this space who are not quite sure how to get involved but want to be involved. And I think you've got some really key things that interlink. Now, so your journey that got you here, how do you see this evolving with a lot more people being connected to it, to, let's say, blockchain adoption? Let's focus on that.
So the blockchain technology is a highly diversified technology in terms of what industries it can be used, or in what sectors it can be used. It will have implications for all industries, similar to the current internet. We were also speaking or thinking about like Web3. To go back, like the Web 1.0 was only like a website like Wikipedia where you had some text and some hyperlinks, and that was all. Today's Web 2.0 is like more interactive. People are creating content, putting it on the internet, people commenting on it, sharing it, interacting. You can buy stuff on the internet, so it's already much different to the first version. And the thing is, with the current internet, we don't have the ownership of the things that we put on the internet. So that means, for example, when I upload a video on YouTube, YouTube can say, yeah, what do we do with it? We don't want to have this content on our website, or it will be deleted, or my channel, whatever, I said something about a specific topic that they don't like to hear, my channel gets deleted. All the value that I brought up to the internet wanted to share with the world is gone. So I don't have the ownership or the, let's say, the I don't know, decide what's being this data is used for. So also like Facebook simply does something with my data that I create, also gets, I think, access to data that I didn't even wanted to share. And with Web 3.0, it will change. So I not only own a singular like domain address, which is the only thing that I can actually own in this Web 2.0. I can own like the things that I create for the internet in the Web 3.0. Did I say 2 or 3.0 before? And this can only, let's say, exist in combination with further technologies. Okay. One of the technology is the blockchain technology. The so-called NFTs, non-fungible tokens, is someone owns one singular thing on the digital side and has possibly implications also for the physical side. So the blockchain technology can create it's actually not a fixed concept, the Web 3.0. It's many ideas that are accumulated currently. The concept of having more ownership of the internet is one of the ideas. Mm-hmm. So let's say I put content on the internet in the new Web 0.3, and somebody shares a link to my content. He might have to pay something, micropayments, for having the access to my content or for sharing my content. But if the content that he shared will be liked, commented, or shared as well, the person who shared the content initially will earn shares of it. But I also get like royalty fees. Mm-hmm. So I also earn. The more people consume the things that I created and put on the internet, I will make more money, but also other people will profit from it. And this will revolutionize and bring so many new opportunities for the whole world. We don't have to go outside. I don't have to go outside and play music at the event. I sit at home or wherever where I have access to the internet, create something what the people enjoy, and hopefully share and comment and whatever to where I profit from it, but the whole society will profit from the things that I brought onto the internet. Mm-hmm. And then it's not only the blockchain, so these micropayment streams, it's also called, or some people call it the Internet of Value. This can be connected with AR, VR, so virtual reality, augmented reality. Geolocations can be connected with the metaverse, where every one of us has like an avatar. We can meet at a certain space where we are digitally replicated. There will be like technologies coming up where even the little pores will be seen on a digital level, on maybe somewhere around the world, and I can see also the surrounding. Mm-hmm. And this will be all brought to the Web 0.3. The experiences that will be connected with this new internet will be totally different, and it will definitely also change the way we live, the way we work, and what job opportunities it brings to us.
I can absolutely see that. So what I hear as opportunities that we're going to be seeing is, it sounds like, I like what you said, it's going to bring a lot of people, a collective together, collective building Web3 and the metaverse. It's not going to just take one industry. And for a long time, I've seen it, especially with the metaverse, the gaming industry is definitely ahead of that curve. However, from what you've shared with us, Micah, there's going to be more creatives sounds like different people in different the financial space talking about micropayments is going to bring a lot of different individuals to understand what that looks like if everybody's going to be receiving a micropayment. And of course, in any kind of community, there's going to be definitely governance that needs to be involved. If you're listening to this, there's so many different layers of individuals and professionals who will be required in this space, what I can hear. If you feel like you're missing out, if you don't know how you're going to get yourself involved, there's a place for you, I'm sure. You shared a lot of things, and Micah, especially about the evolution of 1.0 to 3.0. You dived into micropayments, which is probably something a lot of people are probably not aware of, especially if you're new to this language of Web3 and the metaverse. They say that Web 3.0 is owned by everybody, where all your data is yours, and we can you take a piece of the data and information that you share. And Faya, we 100% believe that's also going to be the evolution, and that's why Micah and I are really big on blockchain utility. There's a lot of different angles in this space at the moment. There's massive glitter talk on NFTs. And then there's people on the back end, which are working on cybersecurity. And then there's people working on like proof of work. So there's a ton of industries that are happening. Get yourselves connected with a ton of different people who are on different angles if you are new and if you are learning. Like I often say, there's a sexy side and there's a side where that's more conservative and more like government orientated or enterprise orientated, because the governance and the operations of blockchain technology, I believe, Michael, you can say more, it does have its own technicalities. You have to really understand the technology to ensure that so in a community, for example, there's house rules, and for blockchain technology, there's systems and protocols and consensus around that. But we can dive into that in another show. But before, we're going to start wrapping up in the next 5 minutes. But Micah, what do you see? So there's these new innovations. How can we best prepare ourselves?
How can we prepare ourselves? It's a huge space, so you might get overwhelmed at the first. So I think when you want to get into the space, especially as a company or government, you have to work with trusted partners. But the thing is, many technology providers are not providing the sustainable technology. So they are working with technologies that are not having a stable protocol, that are, when it comes to the blockchain technology, not like scalable and many other things. So I'm working for Smart Ledger, but I know we have a really great team that has a great overview on all sorts of industries. We are working with really a diversity of industries. If I was like a company who wants to see, okay, what kind of opportunities are in the space, I would definitely, with Faya doing something similar with communities, but we are as Smart Ledger distributing like really working sustainable technologies to the companies, to government, giving consultancy, but also developing the solutions and customizing the products. And yeah, we give a broad overview about the opportunities of each field. But if you are like an individual person, just want to learn more about blockchain technology, for example, there are different websites. For example, the Bitcoin Association. They have the Bitcoin Association for BSV Academy, Bitcoin Academy for BSV, blockchain course, somehow like something like this, where people can get overview about the technology. And there are also websites, I don't know the exact name of it, but where you can get like an overview of the companies that are providing different services. For example, when it comes to wallets, I would definitely check out Handcash app. It's really flexible, and you can connect it with all sorts of platforms. There are games in the space. There are like Durodocs. I'm now daily playing Durodocs and create like hundreds of transactions. You can, if you are already in the blockchain space, you know that you couldn't do this on Ethereum because each transaction costs hundreds of dollars. And with this Durodocs runs on BSV, so each transaction costs like 0.0003 cent or something, and earn to play. Yeah, it's massive.
If you guys haven't heard Play to Earn, you might be already having an app on your phone where you're earning few monies here and there, but definitely huge in this space. And underpinning all of this is blockchain technology. Micah, let's get those links and when after this, so I can just also add them on to the recording. But absolutely, those are great tips to great places, I think, to learn. And I think the whole purpose of the show is to educate, to ensure that people have different voices and different faces share where they're getting information from, and so that you can plug into it. So we'll definitely share those. Micah, you were about to say something.
Yeah, we was talking about education. And when you look at the technologies, at blockchain technologies, I would highly recommend to look at specific metrics. One of them is scalability. So how many transactions can a blockchain do? Can it do smart contracts? So smart contracts are like the performance of a contract. Ricardian contract is like what is the contract about? This will also be needed in the Web 3.0. And regarding smart contracts, can it do tokenization? What else? Is it proof of work? It's also very important for the security. And there are some other metrics like latency and stuff, but I think these are one of the things. For example, Solana claims to do 50,000 transactions per second, but actually many of these transactions are failing. So when you look at the blockchain field space, many of these technologies are only working on the paper, but not in real life. So for a beginner, it's actually really hard to discredit because everyone can tell you something, but not practically working. The high fees, the fees. How high are the fees, the transaction fees? So it's also very much relevant.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not easy, and I know it will take time. It's also like passion that one has to bring into it to really get through all the opportunities. But at the end, you can be one of the first to get into it, to learn about it, and to spread the word about this upcoming technology that will affect all of our lives and bring so much opportunities, so much more wealth for the society, and not for like Facebook or Google, who are misusing also your data. This ownership will be spread to everyone who creates, and everyone will profit from it when someone shared and so on. So it's like an ecosystem for the whole humanity and not for singular entities. And that's one of the greatest things.
Absolutely, Micah. Thank you so much for sharing those words of wisdom, because it's very important for larger organizations, especially to understand the longevity of the blockchain technologies that they adopt, because it's for the long run, it's for the long term. Okay, so we're just about to wrap up. And before we head, how do we stay connected with you, Micah?
So the best way to connect is on LinkedIn. You can add me connect with me there, but also you can send an email if you want, if you like to, meike@smartledger.solutions, and I'm happy to share whatever is needed.
Great. Thank you, Micah. And so coming up in the new year, Micah will also be on a lot of different stages. So we'll make sure to hopefully catch you at those conferences. And for those who are watching, thank you very much. This is our last episode for the year. So for the new year, we're going to be bringing on a lot more different guests from around the globe, different verticals on Web3 and the metaverse, from experience reality to fashion in the metaverse to more blockchain adoption projects. Stay tuned. And I'll also plug in our micro accelerator. We're having our first cohort in January, happening the 10th of January, for individuals and businesses who either want to upskill and get themselves started on their communities for Web3 in the metaverse, or a company who wants to build out their organization and prepare them, or build a community around their business. So I will also plug that into the recording. So stay tuned for that and stay connected with us on Twitter at FiaCorp. I'll pop everything in the comments. And if you have any questions for us, you can feel free to send us a message, put through a comment and tag us. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Thank you and goodbye.